As practitioners of the creative arts, we owe many thanks to the systems that uphold copyright law for its role in staking claim to our original works. Anything made by a creator or artist, be it a lavish painting or a DIY YouTube video, is owned and copyrighted by the party who created it, and that offers an immediate sense of power over an individual's work. Through this ownership, outside parties must seek formal permission from the copyright holder before using, reusing, re-releasing, adapting, or integrating the work for their own purposes. In the years since creative outlets have become widespread and dominant in our culture, the methods for obtaining permissions to use copyrighted material have been streamlined to make up the Creative Commons licenses. The general restrictions of copyright are fairly rigid and prove obtuse to consistently dole out permission from a creator who may be quite pleased with the idea of sharing their own work, but just doesn't wish to separately grant permission to every individual wishing to utilize said work. This is where Creative Commons licenses come into play. They allow artists to apply their own classifications for their art and effectively communicate the conditions under which their creations may be shared. This also gives creators the power to apply whatever limitations they feel is necessary to the redistribution of the property in question. Possibly the simplest of Creative Commons license elements is the CC Attribution License, which grants anyone the permission to edit, remake, or share the artist's work so long as credit is given to the original creator. The attribution license alone does not restrict who can access or alter this work, nor who can profit from it financially. It only specifies that you must not present it as though it is your own. Attribution share alike is a similar beast, allowing the permissions listed before but also requiring that the work be released under the same license, which would prevent a derivative from putting stricter copyright limitations on the adaptation or repurposed work that they used. Someone adapting a work using a share-alike clause will effectively be allowing their own work to be repurposed in a similar way, with the comfort of knowing that whoever seeks to do so must apply the same license. Attribution non-commercial is when the licenses become more overtly strict, totally disallowing reuses, re-edits, or remixes which also seek to financially profit off said reuse. Derivatives or remixes are still allowed and welcome, but money cannot be made off this creation. On the other side of this coin is attribution no derivatives, which allows financial profit to be made on the original work, but disallows anyone from remixing or repurposing the original work unless it's done for personal, non-public use. Non-commercial share-alike operates identically to the aforementioned share-alike licenses, allowing anyone to share so long as they pen their adaptation down under the same classification, but also disallowing them from using said adaptation for profit or other means of financial gain. Finally, the non-commercial no derivatives license essentially disallows the adaptation, remixing, or repurposed use of a copyrighted work unless privately done for non-public use by an individual. It also prohibits the profiting off of creative work. You may be wondering why this is important on YouTube. Well, if you were to ask that in the right circles, you'd be slapped across the face with a glove like a cartoon character. YouTube is a platform that thrives on the shared insights of thoughtful creators. One would need only glance at the circles of game or film commentary to know that the repurposing of creative work is a common tool many creators base their livelihoods off of. And the growing disregard for the rights of a creator on this platform have cultivated many pieces of drama and injustice over the past years. Plagiarism in particular seems to only grow easier on YouTube as the platform becomes increasingly oversaturated. Many people are looking to dip their toes into creative practice these days as independent outlets for creation are more widely accessible than ever. This oversaturation brings competition, a battle to either produce the most of a desired form of content or the best of it. When met with this crossroads, many opt to produce the most of whatever form of content as it brings in the largest number of people and uploading the most consistently serves the YouTube algorithm the most. With this being the mode of content delivery that YouTube most heavily incentivizes, there's now far less incentive to write, record, edit, and release an entire video essay by yourself on a weekly basis. This either means expanding your staff, downscaling your uploads, or shifting into a total creative burnout as you attempt to do all of this yourself. Alternatively, what fringe members of the YouTube community have done in recent years is phase out the creative process entirely and resort to plagiarism. YouTube regulars would remember this video from a couple months ago, which took a lengthy approach to dissecting a handful of massive channels who'd built their success off the flagrant plagiarism of smaller independent writers whom they seek to exploit. Not only did these people find success, they sustained success. They weren't caught out for it until this video essay was released, and that's got to be terribly discouraging for the independent writers who care a great deal for their own perspectives and ideas on a medium who they truly aspire to contribute in. We've only gotten this far deep because many have forgotten or just don't care about the copyright laws that keep this sort of behavior in check, which poses a great threat to our rights as creators. The further understanding of these laws on a wider scale can help to identify the infringing parties within a YouTube space. In an ideal world, these laws wouldn't be completely disregarded by exploitative parties, and they'd be more consistently held accountable for their work. The only way that can happen, though, is if the specifics of copyright law were more understood in wider communities, and that's something we can only do together.